The worst thing that I could have ever done was partner with Intuit on launching the show, because in Intuit, if you're listening in, everybody from Intuit, that's not a snide comment. It's just the tension that every businessman owner must manage. If I take a really, really big contract that helps me, will it become too big of a percentage of my customer base? Even small manufacturers have to deal with this when they get the call from Walmart or Amazon Direct and say, we'd like a 10,000 of your product. It seems like always 100% good, but not 100% good, because 6 months later, that same Walmart could go, just kidding, no more. And then you've built all this infrastructure and all these systems and you can't sustain them. So what I learned is there's not a right or wrong answer. There's a tension to be managed between one person, one company, one customer getting too big, representing too much of your revenue. So at this point, I'm now at the point of being a high 7-figure business, 20-something employees. If somebody did come to me and they wanted to give me revenue in excess, our cutoff point is, interesting enough, Max, we have a strange cutoff point, but it's data driven, 7%. If somebody wants to give me any contracts that represent more than 7% of my annual revenues as a company, we shave those contracts back. Yeah, no exclusivity anymore in any category, and no one person is too big in the playground.
I really like that, and that needs to be applied directly to bookkeeping and accounting firms. You know,
Absolutely.
that's something we keep up with. We have it's one of our KPIs that we track within the firm. You know, if we have too much client concentration, then, you know, things start getting, well, what if this client drops? You know, that was 15% of our gross revenue, which is totally ridiculous.
And then you have commitments. You've got employees, or you've got offshore full-time equivalent contracts. You've got software licenses. Your cash burn doesn't go away. Your revenue just did, right? Or you have to disrupt people's lives and fire them. So big takeaway from the podcast is don't let any one customer get to be too big.
Yep. I love that. I think our metric on that is 5%. I think we like to be lower
You're
than
right
that.
about where I'm at.
Yeah, 5-7%. I think that's really healthy. I like that. I love that. Yeah. And so kind of switching gears to, let's talk about accountants today and bookkeepers today. So we have some people in our communities who they kind of do it all, tax and bookkeeping, accounting, you know, controller type stuff. And then we have just core bookkeepers like myself. Like all we do is bookkeeping. We're a bookkeeping firm. We have great partners for everything else. And so in your experience, you have probably the most experience with working with bookkeepers and accountants in the country, like in a coaching capacity.
Yeah, we coach over 300 small practices. We consult actively at any given time with up to 10 enterprise firms. And I'd say we have our thumb on the pulse.
Insane. Before I even ask this question, and I'm not going to forget it because it's written down. I like to kind of take little side quests in these episodes.
I love side quests. Linear podcasts are boring. Let's just run the rabbit. Run the rabbit.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's just have a conversation.
Yes, exactly.
Let's talk about how you're managing all that within Woodard. And so like, what does and this is a selfish, just entrepreneurial question, kind of how is Woodard staffed and structured?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me just start with the driving principle behind it. This is something we teach in our management and leadership course in our coach program, that there are a couple of these overarching principles I'll start with. The first one, and none of these are unique to me. I picked them up in my travels from other people, but only do what only you can do. That's your true north. I'm not saying you can just suddenly start doing that, because you got to do the second part, which is the delegation, but your true north should be that your desk is filled with things that only you can do. Now, then when it comes to delegation, by the way, just listeners, if you're a sole practitioner or a small firm, you might go, well, Joe, that sounds like pie in the sky. Look, magnetic north is not a place you're going to get to tomorrow, but it can still guide your direction, right? So let that compass point guide you into greater effectiveness on delegation. Even if you don't see a place where you're going to get there ever or in years, let it guide you. Only do what only you can do. It makes you ask the question, could I have delegated that? Can I delegate what I'm doing now or what I'm scheduled to do in the future? And if the answer is yes, then you just have to ask yourself, do I have the resources? Do the people that I have, do they have capacity? Do they have training? Do they have access or not? Do I have budget to hire additional resources to delegate? But at least you're asking the right question. Would I be able to delegate this if I had the resources to do so?